How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, England and the All Blacks have both announced their squads to play each other this weekend. England's team is a little bit shaky. Is there method to Borthwick's madness? Or will the All Blacks prove to be just too much to handle and have just that little bit extra edge with that experience? So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in relation to this. Please drop your thoughts in the comment section below, like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So let's take a look at the squads. I want to break down England first, look into it, and then go into the All Blacks. Because like I say, England, there must be some form of method to Borthwick's madness. Because generally, looking at the squad, you can kind of get an idea that he wants to play his big hitters in the second half. I mean, when you have Luke Cowan-Dickie, Ellis Genge, Will Stewart, even Cunningham South has been a big player for them recently. Tom Curry, these are the forwards that you're going to want to be coming on to really create a difference, especially Cowan-Dickie, Will Stewart, and Ellis Genge. These are the players that I was kind of expecting England to start with, not to finish with. And reason being is because the All Blacks, if they're able to start strong, fast, they're going to rack up points very, very quickly. They are able to move the ball around very quickly. So you would kind of expect England to try to counteract that, but they have gone for Finn Baxter, Joe Hayes, and then Jamie George. Now, Jamie George, he's good. Is he better than Cowan-Dickie, in my opinion? No. He's played pretty well. But Joe Hayes, Finn Baxter, there's still a lot to be desired. They're not there internationally yet. They still need a lot more development. But they are very promising, no matter which way you look at it. But is this the pack to be able to handle Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Fletcher Newell, who have played many times this year? They've competed with the Springboks, they've competed with the Argentinians and the Australians, and all of these are very, very big. So will they be able to handle the power? Because now we've got to take in consideration Scott Barrett and Fabian Holland now joins the scrum as well. So it's definitely going to be a heavy hit for England. I don't know if this choice is going to turn around and bite them in the backside, but don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Finn Baxter, Joe Hayes, Jamie George. I do love them, but is this the right pack to be choosing for the All Blacks, especially considering the All Blacks are going full strength? Maro Itoje, Alex Coles, I can kind of imagine what they're going to be looking for here. They want mobility. Alex Coles, he's very good at finding himself in those little bits of space, breaking away, making those big tackles. He's been in brilliant form in the air as well. And then obviously Maro Itoje is just the captain. He is what it is. So you can definitely see that. Like I said, I was honestly expecting Ollie Chessum to get that number 5 role, but Coles, I think he's going to do spectacularly, but it's going to be very, very difficult with the likes of the All Blacks. I'm just saying it right now. Now, Guy Pepper, Sam Underhill, and then Ben Earl. Again, a little bit shaky. Honestly, I was expecting Tom Curry to be starting. Tom Curry needs to be starting in a game like this. I don't know, that's just my opinion, but he is that kind of player he's gonna make those big tackles early on. He's gonna set the standard. He's gonna set the tone of the game. He's gonna be able to he's going to be able to fight at the breakdown, and he's going to be able to cause havoc early on. He's not, I don't know, I just feel Tom Curry, he needs time to get into the game. Same thing with Marcus Smith. I don't feel Marcus Smith, he's the kind of player that you can just pop him on with 20 minutes left and he's going to make miracles. He's a player that needs to cook. He needs to find that rhythm, and I feel that's something that Tom Curry needs to do. He needs to get into that rhythm. He needs at least that 15 minutes, that 15-20 minutes to really start getting into his flow, get a good couple of hits in, get himself accustomed to the pace of the game, and then he starts to dominate. And this is what I was honestly expecting Tom Curry to start. But Guy Pepper has been in good form. I truly do think Guy Pepper is, he's one of those players for the future of England rugby, and I think he's going to do brilliantly. But is he right for now? That is the question. Is he right for now? I would have preferred to see Tom Curry here. Ben Earl is Ben Earl. He is a monster. He's getting game time no matter which way you want to talk about it. Obviously, the other option is Henry Pollock. Henry Pollock still is not starting grade yet. He is a very promising player, but he's not starting grade. I would not start him over Ben Earl. I'm more than happy to see him coming on and make a difference, because that is what he does. He is the kind of player that you'll be able to pop on in 20, 30 minutes. He's got the energy, he's got the vibe, he's got that, he's got that aggression to be able to make an impact straight off the bench. So yeah, Henry Pollock coming on, more than happy. And then obviously they have a lot of versatility, because then Guy Pepper can swap to 7, or if you want even Underhill at 6, Henry Pollock at 8. You can swap quite easily, but comes down to experience. The All Blacks back row are packed for days. They've got experience for days. Just I think Ardie Surveyor actually has more caps than that entire back row put together. Possibly even ×2. I didn't check the stats, but I mean, what, Ardie Surveyor has over 100 caps, something like that. Mitchell, George Ford, again, Mitchell is the number one. There's no way Spencer's starting over Mitchell, especially up against the All Blacks. But George Ford, again, I was kind of expecting Marcus here. But they have gone for George Ford, and I think they are going to be playing very much a tactical kicking game. They're using Feo Abosa and they're using Tom Roebuck. Tom Roebuck is notoriously good in the air. He is very good. He's got a lot. He's got some good pace on him. He's got good strength. He's very good at fending off. He's built thick. And then Feo Abosa, he's just that electric monster. So yeah, I think they are going to be playing very much a kicking game. They want to pin the All Blacks back into their own territory, and they're going to have to try and work the set pieces as much as possible. But I think they're going to want to try and avoid it. They're going to want to frustrate the All Blacks. And it's been done before. It's happened quite a lot, frustrating them at the breakdown. And I think they are going to want to try and utilize as much of the as much of the mistakes as possible, getting in those penalties, using George Ford to really start pinging in those points, just boom, 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 kind of have like a Garbisi effect, where he's just keeping them in the game, keeping that points that points tally just ticking and ticking and ticking. Before second half, boom, you have someone like Feo Abosa comes in, breaks the gain line, breaks a couple defenders, and boom, straight in through. Or you have someone like Tom Roebuck who's able to hit those, hit that ball in the air, collect nicely, lay off, and then leave space. The All Blacks have been found wanting. So I think they definitely are going to be looking at utilizing those little pockets of space that tend to open. But the All Blacks, they don't tend to leave those pockets open for very long, and if many at all. So the English are really going to have to utilize as much as they can. Dingwall and then Ollie Lawrence, heavy runners. So again, I think this is where we're going to see someone like Freddie Stewart, who he is very, very good in the air. He's very good at utilizing his kicking ability, creating space. He's a good runner of the ball. I feel Freddie Stewart is England's best 15, natural 15 right now. Marcus is not a 15, even though some might think about him that way. He's a good option, but outright he's not as good as Freddie Stewart, in my opinion. Freddie Stewart does everything better at a 15 than Marcus right now. But Marcus is the kind of player that he can play the 10, he can play the 15. He wants to get something going. And this is why I think Borthwick kind of prefers even Finn Smith to Marcus at 10, because Finn Smith likes to sit. He likes to sit back into that pocket and work things. He likes to bring other people into play. Really start getting the ball going. Whereas Marcus Smith, sometimes he likes to try and force it too much. And that can ultimately end up backfiring and biting England in the backside. Whereas I think with 15, he's allowed a little bit more leeway in terms of that, and he can then start making things happening with those darting runs, with those clearing balls. He's got a big boot on him as well. So yeah, he's definitely there. But the big thing, I definitely do see England. They are going to want to try and wear down the All Blacks. They're going to try and keep up with the points, keep George Ford on that tally, and then have Ellis Genge come in for for a power effect and start pushing them back. But when you bring on Ellis Genge and they bring on Tamaiti Williams, when they bring on Cowan Dickey and they bring on Taukeaho, Will Stewart, Basilio Tosi, I don't know, power for power. But Ellis Genge, in my opinion, outside of Oxenche, he is the best Lucy in world rugby. So Ellis Genge is always a weapon to have, but I would have loved to see him start. Again, another player that I don't think he's going to have that effect if you bring him on with 20, 30 minutes left. He's a player that's going to need to cook. He gets better as the game goes on. As we saw in the last game. So I don't know. They definitely are looking good. I mean, I like the look of the squad. They've got a lot of youth. They've got a lot of young talent in and around the squad. So within the next 2 years, a lot of these players are going to develop. So I think a lot of this is also taking consideration. Borthwick wants to build development. He wants to build depth, where you have Finn Baxter, Joe Hayes, Guy Pepper, you have Fraser Dingwall, you have Tom Roebuck. They want to start building and creating more elite level depth. So I'm not upset with the squad. It's just I don't understand the thought process as why you would now choose to do this up against the All Blacks. This is the kind of squad that I would see them playing up against Italy. This is the kind of squad that I could see them playing up against like Argentina, not the All Blacks. Confuses me. In terms of the All Blacks, while we're talking about them, this squad, you can tell Razor, he is not allowing, he's not giving anything to chance. He wants to go in head first, make sure that they dominate early on. They're going to dominate with the big collisions. They're going to dominate with the set pieces. And then they're going to use Faingo Nuku and they're going to use Leroy Carter, who are absolute speed demons, to just wreak havoc. So Cam Roygard and Bowden Barrett, they are going to be the engines, the maestros. They're going to be the generals. That's going to be leading the squad. There's going to be keeping the tempo. And when we have Simon Parker, Peter Lakai, and Ardie Savea at the breakdown, this is where they're going to be fighting. And then who's going to come out on top in terms of the breakdown? Personally, Simon Parker, he's been very up and down. Peter Lakai, he's an absolute monster, and he's actually been playing pretty well. Ardie Savea is just Ardie Savea. He sets the standard for what a back row is. So they're definitely going to be very difficult to break down. They are going to put a lot of pressure on England. George Ford, he is more than experienced. He's going to be able to deal with the pressure. Alex Mitchell, he is going to be able to move that ball around pretty quickly, but sometimes he does arrive late. So you cannot arrive late when you have someone like Ardie Savea who's going to be there and he's going to be making those crucial tackles. He's going to be making those crucial jackals. He's going to be turning that ball over and he's going to want to force mistakes. So there's just experience on experience on experience here. This is England. The All Blacks have far more experience in this side than what England does. So obviously, in terms of the centres, obviously no Geordie Barrett, so Quinn Tupaia gets 12, Billy Proctor at 13. This is going to be a partnership that still needs to develop. Billy Proctor's really going to have to pull up his socks and he's really going to have to show what he's made of, because if he continues to play like he did when you had someone like Geordie Barrett there to be able to cover for your backside and to be able to help lift your game, you're not going to have that now. Now you have Quinn Tupaia. Quinn Tupaia is not as good, or Tupaia, I always get confused with his name. He is not at that level of Geordie Barrett, right? He's a really exciting player and I really love watching him. But if I'm going to have the option between Geordie or Quinn, it's going to be Geordie all day long. And I think that's 90% of planet Earth that would choose the same. So Geordie is definitely a player. He can get something done. He's such a well-rounded centre as well. He's one of the most well-rounded centres in world rugby. So losing him is massive because of what he brings to the game. So Billy Proctor's definitely going to have to, pull up his socks and get the game done, because England are not going to go down easy. Faingo Nuku, Leroy Carter. Leroy Carter does tend to go missing at points, and I'm so happy to see Faingo Nuku start to get a bit more, game time, build up that rhythm. So it's going to be interesting to see how the centre partnership and the wings are going to work, how they're going to find a way to break down the English defence, which is not going to be easy. Don't get me wrong. This is not going to be an easy job for England. For the All Blacks. And the English can very well come outright and put the brakes to the All Blacks and really give them a hiding. But looking at the squad, I mean, Scott Barrett is just him by himself. He 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 will, if a game is 50-50 and then you have Scott Barrett join, that automatically becomes like a 60-40. You know, he changes the game. He makes those big tackles. He will make those crucial moments, and he will win those crucial lineouts. So Barrett is a different ball game. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. Substitutes: Taukei'aho, Tamaiti Williams, Basilio Tosi, Josh Lord, Wallace Atiti, Cortez Ratima, Lynette Brown, Damian McKenzie. Damian McKenzie in the last game, that's all that needs to be said. Damian McKenzie changes games. He makes things happen. Cortez Ratima, he's still an elite level 9. Cam Roigard is better, undoubtedly, but I don't think there's going to be many teams in World Rugby that would not love to have a Cortez Ratima in their squad because of what he brings to the game. And then Wallace Atiti, young, World Young Player of the Year, for a reason. We've seen him multiple times. I mean, look what happened with Ireland. Wallace Atiti's a monster. You don't stop him. You can try your best, but he takes a lot to stop. So having him come on when you are tired, the depth for the All Blacks, the depth for the All Blacks outweighs the English. It really does. This is going to be an interesting game. This is going to be an interesting game because looking at the squad, we are going to be seeing very progressive play. We are going to be seeing that ball being moved down to those wings as quickly as possible. More than likely going to use Beauden Barrett's ability to, hit those sweet crossfield kicks to players like Fainga'anuku and Leroy Carter to really be able to open up their to open up their legs and find that lot of space in behind. But more than likely, we're going to see work at the breakdown. We are going to see heavy runs from the likes of Simon Parker, Ardie Savea, Peter Lakai, gaining that momentum, using a bit of phase play, and then they're going to work that ball out, they're going to work that ball back in, and then they're going to find those little gaps that are going to start appearing because of, 1, fatigue, 2, experience. I do feel that the All Blacks are just going to have far too much for them. I could very much well, eat my own words, and I will happily take that. If I could see England come through with a win over the All Blacks, my word, I would be so happy. But likelihood of it happening, I don't think there's a very good chance. So, guys, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Where do you think this game is going to be won and lost? And can the English do it, even with not playing and their first team squad up against quite possibly one of the greatest teams to ever grace our field? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Catch you guys later.